Good evening. I'd like to thank Mr. Hindol Sen Gupta of UN Millennium Campaign for inviting me here today. I'm not an expert in education. By training, I'm a social worker, but destiny took me to the corporate world. I know that I'm standing in front of people who have experience in education and who have worked in the field for many years. So I will not provide any broad analysis of the Indian educational scene, but will limit my talk and my observations as my direct experience with education, and that also mostly in Pune. Though it took us more than 5 decades to make an unequivocal statement of our educational objective, the recent right to education is a significant legislation which can ensure that every child in India would get enrolled in a school. I do hope one day we can guarantee quality education that would bring out the best in each child. It is good that the state is taking the responsibility to educate the poor. Presently, there are many private schools which have mushroomed all over India. These are not great schools, and their infrastructure is pathetic. And yet, going by the fact that an increasing number of parents from poor families prefer sending their children there, they must be fulfilling some need. RT specifies that within 5 years, if these private schools do not adhere to the requirements laid down in the Act, they will have to pay a heavy fine or close down. Let me repeat that these schools certainly do not impart quality education, and yet they are better than most of the municipal schools. If the public schools offered a better education, these parents would certainly not pay their hard-earned money to send their children to these schools. As long as governments cannot ensure quality education, I feel the choice must be left to the parents through vouchers or any other means. My plea to the government is not to focus on inputs, but insist on quality outcome, and do not be prescriptive as to whether each school should have 2 acres, certain pay scales and qualifications for teachers, but let me repeat, insist on quality outcome. All of us are familiar with the dismal and depressing statistics of our education system. Of those who attend school, 50% drop out by class 5. Of those who stay in school, 10% complete 10th standard. 39% of India's population is still illiterate. This makes the number of illiterate Indians almost equal to the total population of the United States. The enormity of the challenges that we face in education also reminds us that it is not a task to be accomplished by the government alone. The primary responsibility of universal education, of course, should remain with the government. But we need everyone to contribute. Independent citizens, corporates, NGOs, social service organizations, and government agencies. We are badly in need of creative partnership models where people across the social spectrum can come together and contribute. From my limited experience, what is needed is government to support and encourage and facilitate public-private partnership and not discourage genuine people. 6 years ago, when I retired, I decided to focus on education. Earlier, about 12 years ago, I had come across an NGO in Mumbai named Akanksha, which supplemented municipal school education. After school, children in the age group of 5 to 18 attend Akanksha centers. In a typical center, there are about 60 children with 2 teachers along with volunteers. They are taught English, maths, creativity, values, and we let them have some fun. In Mumbai, there are about 31 centers, and 10 years ago, I introduced Akanksha to Pune, where today we have 23 centers. Akanksha has initiated a leadership program through which potential leaders from among their teachers are identified and trained to take up higher responsibilities. There are so many conflicting causes, and why did I choose to spend my time and money on education? I got attracted to the Akanksha way of teaching, and there was also the growing conviction that education can bridge our inequity gap. At the Akanksha board, we often agonize over the fact that though we are able to raise the children's confidence and self-esteem with our limited daily intervention, their academic performance is still quite poor. In order to have a larger impact, we decided to try out another experiment, and in Pune and Mumbai adopted 7 municipal schools. What do I mean by adopted? We signed an MOU with the municipality whereby we are given an existing school building. We recruit the principal and the teachers and work with 4 schools in Pune and 3 in Mumbai. Akanksha does the teachers' training, and corporates and foundations finance them. Our own company, Thermax, took the financial responsibility of 2 schools. The government is meant to provide infrastructure, uniforms, books, bus passes, and midday meals. We had aimed to adopt 10 schools in Pune and thus demonstrate that any child, if given the right opportunity, can do well at studies, develop an all-round personality, imbibe the right values, and become a responsible citizen. It goes without saying that our teachers are not allowed to hit the children, something very common in most municipal schools, nor are they allowed to humiliate the kids. We have asked a few teachers to leave because they did not follow these rules. One of the schools, K.C. Thackeray Vidyaniketan, last year won the National Winner Award among the government schools instituted by the Education Quality Foundation of India. We have a few teachers who are excellent but do not have the teaching degrees. This is a dilemma that we face. Do we go after meaningless degrees or judge teachers by their final output? Working with the municipality sometimes can be highly personality-driven. It depends on who the commissioner is and who the other school board members are. Let me admit that we are still learning to work with the civic administration, especially with the perception that quality education is anti-poor. Sometimes we are told that we should be prepared to admit even 100 children